Hello, dear listeners. Thank you for joining me today on another episode of our journey together here at the Gentle Path. As always, it's such a privilege to share this warm and quiet space with you. Let's delve into a topic I know many of us think about as the years pass, keeping our minds sharp, curious, and full of life. It's remarkable, isn't it? How some people seem to stay as sharp as ever well into their 80s or 90s. Maybe you've been wondering about this yourself. Whether it's possible to hold on to that mental clarity, that ability to recall names, stories, or those little moments that make life meaningful. Let me reassure you, not only is it possible, but it's never too late to start supporting the brilliance of your mind. Today, I'll be sharing 5 simple yet powerful habits that nurture our mental sharpness. These are practices you can weave into your life effortlessly, and their impact might surprise you. Let's begin with something so lovely and accessible: reading with purpose. Now, when I say reading, I don't just mean flipping through the newspaper or glancing at headlines, though that's useful in its own way. No, I mean intentional, curious reading, choosing a book, an article, or even an essay that stretches your thinking. Imagine sitting down with a historical novel, a memoir of someone whose path fascinates you, or even a magazine on a topic you've never explored before, like astronomy or gardening. Isn't it beautiful how reading can spark entire journeys of thought? I recall a gentleman, Charles from Arizona. He's 74 and took up reading science magazines a few years ago. At first, he struggled. The terms, the articles, they felt like lifting heavy weights for his brain. But that's exactly the point. This mental stretching builds strength just like exercising your muscles. Charles now says those magazines have given him not just knowledge, but something to talk about with friends, something to reflect on with delight. It's worth noting that studies, like one referenced by the Mayo Clinic, confirm that adults who read regularly are far less likely to experience cognitive decline. You don't have to start big. Just a chapter a day or whatever feels manageable. The key is curiosity and consistency. Speaking of habits that nourish the mind, here's one you might not immediately associate with mental sharpness: movement. Yes, let's talk about walking. A simple stroll might be more powerful than we think. But it's not just the movement of your legs. It's the way your senses come alive when you walk, especially outdoors. Imagine this. You step outside, feel the gentle breeze, hear the rustle of leaves. Perhaps notice the scent of rain on the pavement or flowers blooming along the path. Each of these sensations lights up different parts of your brain, keeping it active and engaged. Let me share Patricia's story. She's 81 and started walking through her neighborhood after her husband passed. It began as mere habit, almost a way to escape her grief. Over time, though, she noticed something incredible. She began sleeping better, remembering details more vividly, and even holding longer, more meaningful conversations. Movement became her therapy, not intense exercise, but an act of everyday mindfulness. Even just 10 minutes a day, my friends, connects your body to your mind in such a generous, healing way. And if you take those walks looking for something new, whether it's a bird, a smiling neighbor, or a street you've never noticed, you're encouraging mental growth alongside physical wellness. Now our bodies and brains depend more on nourishment than we often realize. After 70, our systems absorb nutrients differently, so we need to be mindful of what we're feeding this incredible machine of ours. I think often about Joe, who's 76. He thought his light breakfast of toast and jam was enough, but he kept running into brain fog and mood swings. His doctor, wisely, encouraged him to adjust. Instead of skipping protein, Joe started having boiled eggs with walnuts or adding a handful of berries to his day. In just weeks, he reported feeling sharper and more energized. It's not surprising. Omega-3 fatty acids, which are in walnuts and salmon, are essential to keeping our neurons healthy. Antioxidants in berries? They fight inflammation in the brain. Even staying hydrated can clear the mental sluggishness so many of us chalk up to aging, but may simply be dehydration. You don't need fancy diets. Think of food as fuel for thought. A few almonds, a slice of avocado, or a simple veggie soup can work wonders. Dr. Helen Marcus, a geriatric psychologist at Stanford, once said, "What nourishes the body invariably nourishes the mind. It's a connection we cannot ignore." Now, let's touch on something beautifully human: social connection. Friends. Our minds are wired for interaction. Sadly, isolation often creeps in as life shifts. Children move away, loved ones pass, and our circles grow smaller. But here's the thing: reconnecting, even in small ways, can be transformative. Helen, an 82-year-old I spoke to, struggled with loneliness for years. Her daughter nudged her toward a community book club. At first, Helen hesitated, perhaps as you might, if it's been a while since moving in social circles. But once she joined, something magical happened. Discussing stories, sharing opinions, and yes, even remembering people's names, all of it quickly rekindled her mental agility. The science is clear. Social interactions are as critical to our cognitive health as nutritious food or exercise. Even small moments, chatting with a neighbor or calling an old friend, can spark fresh thoughts and keep our brains engaged. If you're feeling uncertain about reconnecting, start small. Write a letter, ask a friend to tea, or even join a hobby group. Your stories, your company, they're gifts to others and to yourself. Lastly, let's talk about something that keeps our minds young no matter our age: curiosity. Oh, how wonderful it is to stay curious. After retirement, or once routines settle, it's easy to slip into the same meals, the same shows, the same days. That comfort is natural, but too much of it can leave our minds feeling dull. Curiosity invites us to explore. Frank, a retired factory worker, learned this firsthand. At 78, his routines felt stagnant until his daughter gave him a watercolor kit. At first, he thought, "This isn't for me." But eventually, he gave it a go. The process of watching paint blend, figuring out how to hold the brush, these weren't just new skills. They were puzzles for his brain to solve, sparking the kind of learning he hadn't done in decades. We don't have to master new hobbies. It can be as simple as asking a question. How does the subway system work? Or reading about something outside our usual interests. Curiosity isn't about big changes. It's about little moments of wonder that keep our mental paths open and alive. So, my friends, these 5 habits, purposeful reading, mindful movement, nourishing your body, connecting with others, and cultivating curiosity, are like a beautiful weave. Each thread strengthens the other, creating a rich tapestry of mental health and clarity. None of these take monumental effort, but over time, the changes can be profound. Think about which one you'd like to explore today. Maybe it's calling a friend you've been thinking of, or perhaps it's picking up a book from your dusty shelf. Whatever you choose, know that the simple act of caring for your mind is an act of love, for yourself and for the life you continue to live so fully. Thank you for spending this time with me. If something in today's episode sparked a thought or a memory, I'd love to hear about it. Share it in the comments if you can. And if you've found this episode helpful, please share it with someone who might need a little encouragement. Until next time, take gentle care of yourself. You are more powerful, more vibrant, and more capable than you may realize.